Good question yesterday I received from a college student. I like to answer questions every now and then when I get a chance. And so I wanted to share this with you. He writes, I've gotten a lot of value out of your capstone YouTube videos. Thank you. I'm a junior in college and have been working hard on developing algorithmic trading systems. I've noticed that you're using NinjaTrader and there's some serious limitations as far as back testing with dynamic position sizing. Wondering how you got past it. Would really appreciate any insights you might have. So appreciate that question. I'm going to share the answer that I gave him. So overall, here is the answer. Pretty much anything can be programmed in these platforms these days. You just have to know about it first mathematically, and then you have to know how to do it programmatically. I'm going to go over the math part of this right now. The programmatic part is a little more involved, but I want to start here with the math. The dollars to risk, you first need to know that. How many dollars are you going to risk? You have your risk percentage, and that's the input that you give on that trade. Say you want to risk 1 or 2 or 10% on a trade. That's an input that you define. And then you have your account size. And so your account size could also be a fixed value that you give it at the beginning of the day, or you could use some of the functions within the platform to get your account size. There are limitations to that. If you're trading right here, if you're trading other strategies, your account size or available balance could change intraday. So you have to take that into consideration. But in general, the dollars to risk are risk percentage times account size. So if you have a 2% risk, say 2% risk, and you have a $50,000 account, your dollars to risk on that trade are $1,000. You can risk $1,000 on that trade. And so your dollars to risk, $1,000. Dollars needed per contract. So maybe you have dollars needed per contract traded is $10,000. So contracts to trade, this is a number that you define based on your max drawdown plus margin required. It can't be calculated. It can't be calculated in real time unless you have all your history on the chart to know the max drawdown. You could program it, but if you have a long list of strategies and you have the full history on your chart in real time, it could weigh the memory down. So you have to have that kind of as a fixed value to optimize your real-time trading. And so contracts to trade, as you'd round down, you want to round up, is the dollars to risk, $1,000, divided by dollars needed per contract traded. So in this case, you have 0.1. But since you can't trade 0.1, that initial answer was not correct. Unless you're talking about 0.1, that means you could trade a micro instead of a mini in that situation. So your dollars needed per contract traded could be your stop loss. And so if you have a fixed dollar stop loss, you could divide by your stop loss amount or your risk on the trade, how much you're risking per trade. And so this would change to your stop loss. So I gave you the wrong answer. This should be your stop loss per trade. That's calculated different ways. Also, if you change your stop loss based on volatility, that will also change. So what you're really looking at is if you have a strategy, if you have your risk per trade is $1,000 and your stop loss is $500, your number of contracts to trade would be 1,000 divided by 500 is equal to 2. And so you don't really need dollars needed per contract traded right here. You could just make this your stop loss. If you just have a fixed dollar stop loss, you could just say dollars to risk divided by your stop loss, and that would be one way to do variable stop losses. So account size, platforms have the ability to get the account size, but you have to make sure that you're only trading that one strategy in that one account, or the available balance could change intraday. I don't have a program in my strategies for futures to trade to trade contracts, because I'm not changing contract size frequently. I look at an entire portfolio, a list of systems that I trade, and there has to be it's typically a longer time period, and then an analysis of when to change the position sizing. I don't want it to be calculated on each strategy separately. But this is one way. This makes more sense. Also, if you're trading just one strategy, if you're going to specialize in one strategy, if you're going to trade micros, you can incrementally change them more quickly if you trade equities or trade cryptos.